welcome into the First Football Podcast. Today is Friday, December 22nd, 2023. I am your host here in Green Bay, Justin Sutton, with my fellow co-host Mike down in Milwaukee.
Dude, vibes are high right now. We've been talking probably for the past 30 minutes, reminiscing, smiling, having a good time. Holidays are here.
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy football is here.
Vibes are...
Meaningful football is here. Fantasy went a little south for me because I'm playing Puka Nacua, as many of you have known. And then I also had Kamara. Puka had his best game ever this season. Actually, best game ever, too. And Kamara had his worst game of the season. So that was really upsetting. I came in number one seed, scored over 2,000 fantasy points, averaging probably, I think, close to 150 a game. But hey, that's not going to kill the vibe, dude. Having a great week, having a good time talking to Justin, being at home, family activities. You see the smile on Justin's face just sitting here. It's a good day, dude. So I'm super amped to be here and chat with you.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Tis a good day indeed. And, for those of you who may be in the exact same situation as Mike, or just, in one of them that are struggling against Puka, or you had Kamara, all I can say is you got to be a fourth quarter player. You're not a first quarter player. You got to be a fourth quarter player. All right. You don't win the week on Thursday. You win the week on Monday.
I also have Kamara or McCaffrey on my team, so probably nobody feels bad for me.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna put that out there. I was at least trying to give you some sympathy on the pod here, but
I gotta be honest, I do have.
When you have McCaffrey, you should fear no team. That's for sure.
I'm nervous, but
I mean, he's been pretty healthy this year, man. I'm gonna knock on wood too. I hope to see that continue. Like at this point, I would like to see either McCaffrey, preferably Tyreek or McCaffrey, win the
MVP. Somebody besides a quarterback.
Yep. And for those of you, I don't know if I've ever actually formally introduced my dog to the podcast. So this is my dog, Ruger. I'm sure you have all seen him walking around on camera in the background, laying on his bed, itching himself, doing dog stuff, whatever.
I think to do some justice, there needs to be a little bit of background of the father of that dog when we met, and that was your childhood dog.
Yeah, this one is Junior. I got the pleasure of growing up with Senior, and this is a son from his first litter. So
and then your buddies, Kyle and Bubba,
yep,
also have lineage of that dog, which those are your best childhood friends, which is the coolest fucking thing ever.
It really is, man. It's quite special in my opinion. And then we got this guy back here.
Obese cat.
This is his name. He's not Obese Cat. His name is Tibby. He's a good boy. He's just a little big boned, all right.
That cat is super chill.
He is the best cat I've ever had in my life, that's for sure. But with that being said, let's move into the best week of football we're about to ever have in our lives, Week 16. And by Week 16, we got to talk about that game Thursday night. What was that? That was like pretty much exactly what I expected. Total domination by the Rams, if I do say so myself. I mean, talk about getting smacked around.
Yeah.
Saints got beat up in Los Angeles in the Rams' house when the line was Rams -4, and they got stomped on.
Yeah, so my last note that I wrote down was I think Stafford and crew diced them up and stay in the playoff race, and they did exactly that. What the worst thing, obviously I'm devastated with fantasy. I had Puka in another league who failed me the previous week, which would have helped propel me into a semifinals in a certain league where he didn't show up. But the Saints having three
I believe we may have lost something here, Mike. Well, look who's back after a little technical difficulties. Would you care to share what happened right there? That was the most unfortunate timing ever.
The entire power in the house went out.
Right on.
That's about it.
Well,
that's never had I mean, we have had power go out, but usually we're pretty reliable here. What was I felt like I was on something electric there for a minute.
I feel like you were too. I think last we were talking about was how good the Rams were and that the Saints are essentially eliminated from playoff contention, although not mathematically. And the Rams really got something working here, man. I mean, Stafford and those receivers are really clicking. Kyron Williams is an absolute dog. Like,
5'10"
dude,
thing,
I love
dog.
it. Had all the
Yeah. Oh,
doubters
I
coming
know.
out of coming out of college. I love that he's proving people wrong.
I remember what I was saying. 3 turnovers on downs. 3 turnovers on downs. This coach for the Saints, I don't even know his name. This guy
Dennis
stinks.
Allen.
Fire him.
Yeah, Dennis
Idiot.
Allen is gonna probably be gone.
I saw a video today on it's like the YouTube Reels or something like that. I don't have
Hmm.
TikTok, but it's like this football one. It was like saying, okay, do you terminate, extend, or something with their contract? And they had Derek Carr in there. What would you do with Derek Carr after this season as a Saint? Like, if I
I
mean,
think Derek Carr is a better quarterback when he has legitimate coaching. So therefore, I would. I mean, you kind of have to eat the contract at this point for one more year, and then like really reassess. I'd get him a real coach slash coordinator, and then go from there. Because I mean, I agree with you. Dennis Allen is not the answer for this team, and I don't think that like there's plenty of decent coaching candidates out there on the market. Like they could do a lot better than Dennis Allen with quite a few individuals, in my opinion.
yeah, I
But
mean, Derek Carr
I'm
throws as
not a
much
coach.
touchdowns. What did he have? 319 yards, 3 touchdowns this game, and they scored 22 points.
Yeah, a bunch of garbage time stats.
I
Sorry,
mean,
buddy.
I don't know how I feel about Derek Carr, to be fair. I think he's run his course as a starting quarterback. He ain't winning you a chip. He's not winning you a championship. He
No,
has
he's
proven
not.
that.
But he's going to keep you from being like 3-14 every year.
3 and 14 gets you a draft pick for somebody that could potentially win you a chip.
I know, I understand that, but I mean, you got to think of the organization he's playing for. They used to be called the Aints.
Well,
They
it's like the
do.
Steelers. They're
They
in
do
the same
not
boat.
want to. They do not want to slip back into irrelevance.
They're the same point as the Steelers. The Steelers are never going to tank. They can have this awful
Steelers just don't lose, bro. Like they refuse to go have like 2 and
Yeah,
15 seasons. They
they
just
won't do that.
no. That's like I agree with you. Like there, that's the whole construct of the NFL. That's why the parity is set up so that if you do have a shitty season like that, boom, go get your top dude. Potentially.
Yeah.
It's like I agree, but I just think that the Saints are too afraid to go be bad again. And also they have enough talent. Like
Dude,
why
it
would you
was
want to suck like
Olave.
that? You know what I mean? Yeah, you're gonna waste like 2-3 years of these dudes' career to possibly because I mean drafting is hard as is, like no matter what round it is,
I guess you can't be out on Derek
especially
Carr yet. It's his
quarterbacks
first season as a Saints quarterback.
with a terrible head coach, a who
This,
knows offensive
what an
coordinator. The
idiot.
play calling was
Oh my
terrible for the
God.
Saints all night, my opinion.
I mean, as much as I am a Kamara fantasy owner, give him some screenplays. Open
Yeah,
the run game did not work. The run game was dead. You're not running the ball. Screenplays to Kamara. Like, get him in an open field. Olave was catching some balls. That was nice.
yeah,
Give it to throw it out to Kamara in a screen or something like that. Do something different, man.
yeah.
Watching them made me want to. I mean, it's uh,
What I tell you,
uh
dude, it's going to be a coaching mismatch from Sean McVay and Dennis Allen. Like, I mean,
Sean
Sean
McVay
McVay. I mean,
candidate for coach of the year.
I completely agree with that. I mean, I think the top three candidates, in my opinion, for coach of the year in no order
Let me try to
are
guess.
okay. Obviously, one is Sean McVay, number
Sean
one of those
McVay.
candidates.
Fuck. I had
There,
way more hopes coming into this
I
than
say
when I
there's one guy
started.
I've talked about quite a bit, and I like him. And I'll give you a hint. There's a direct correlation to my fantasy football team to that coach,
AFC or NFC?
AFC.
Yeah, dude. I had a lot of high hopes coming into this, and then I immediately hit a wall of thought. Uh,
I would say
but
this is probably my leading candidate for coach of the year. So you got Sean McVay, but Mr. Shane Steichen, dude, I look at what the Colts are right now, man. That
It's
team
hard to
is
deny that
real.
with
They
Gardner
are,
Minshew.
and they're to the point, dude. The Colts scare me, like because they're believing that they're good. They're building confidence, and like, dude, Gardner Minshew has the experience. Like he's good enough to, I think, go win a wild card game, depending on who they get matched up with. But I don't think you're going further than that. And I mean, that's good. Like after the seasons this team has been having, they kind of need that. And last but not least, I digress to my last coach of the year candidate. I would throw Matt Stefanski up there. What he's doing without quarterbacks is next level.
I mean, he has quarterbacks, but
They
yes.
are on the verge, they are on the precipice of achieving 10 wins right now on this season in week 16 with 4 different quarterbacks this year. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the whole AFC is kind of crazy besides the Ravens, but that whole
Everybody
carousel
kind of
of
thought they'd be
quarterbacks.
decent this year, so yeah, they're not really too surprising.
Yeah, but still, nobody expected this many quarterbacks coming out from one
Oh,
division.
specifically,
The
yes. Yeah.
carousel of quarterbacks was crazy.
Kenny Pickett not playing this week, unfortunately. Joe Burrow done for the year.
Unfortunately, come on. Who
I
gives a fuck if Kenny plays? The team stinks with or without. It don't matter what quarterback. Unless you're putting Aaron Rodgers in there, Hall of Fame quarterback, that team sucks.
Perfect. This is the perfect segue lead up into this next game that we got. Preview time. Saturday games. First game here is it looks like we are missing a game here, Mike.
What?
Incorrect. That is my bad. That is my
Oh,
bad. I was looking at I
you got
got
me
weeks
shook.
I had weeks confused. Our first game on Saturday here is at 3:30 Central Time. Bengals
Steelers,
at
yeah.
Steelers. Cincy -3 is the line. And honestly, you said it last week, and I think you were a week early. This is a Mike Tomlin game. All the doubters, all the naysayers, even you're a Steelers fan. You're like, there's no way.
I hope they
This is a
fucking
Mike
lose.
Tomlin game, and I'm taking the Steelers to win this game. I don't know
And
how. I don't know
Cincy
in
-3, by
what
the way.
way. Yeah, Cincy -3 is the line. I'm
I'm
taking
taking it.
Pittsburgh. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win. No Jamar Chase, no problem.
T. Higgins destroys the Steelers. I don't know if you looked at games when T. Higgins plays the Steelers.
I did not.
Last time he played the Steelers, I think he had 180 something fucking yards with Jamar Chase playing.
Tell you what, I did look at against the Steelers though. Guess how many quarterbacks have 300 yards or more passing against them this year?
Probably not a lot because that defense is, yeah, there you go.
One. One. You're telling me Jake Browning with no Jamar Chase and a recently back, fresh off his injury, T. Higgins, like, yeah, he's looking good out there.
When
But
was that game? Who would they play?
I'd have to look that back up for you. It was
It
back in
probably
like
wasn't.
weeks. I think it was actually Deshaun Watson when he had
Yeah,
that fourth quarter game,
there you
if I
go.
remember
No,
correctly.
Steelers beat the Browns. No, they lost to the Browns. No, they beat. They I think they
Oh no, that's
one
right.
and
He did
one.
that to
They
the
were 1 and
Ravens. My
1.
bad. 1 second. Let me look real quick.
Regardless, it probably wasn't when they're on their like third or fourth string safety and fourth and fifth string middle linebacker. So
Let's see here. That 300-yard passer was back in week 4.
yeah, that
And
doesn't count.
that was CJ Stroud tearing y'all to pieces.
Yeah, that doesn't count. This defense is
The
totally different
closest
now.
the closest anybody has come since then was week 8. Trevor Lawrence had 292. And recently, like I'll go the last 3 games here. I'll go the last 5. So 15 since week 11, the closest anyone's come to 300 yards is 240. And
This is the only time I've
that
seen you
was
boast with Steelers defense.
that was Bailey Zappi. Like honestly, I was kind of looking at
That
these
was only in the
numbers.
first half too. That was only in
Exactly.
the first half.
And honestly, I'm kind of looking at these numbers and I'm like, Mike sits up here like, man, this rush defense is so good. And like technically the running yards on the ground looks pretty solid, but like they leak points to the running backs. But dude, they are hell for quarterbacks, man. They are not a good time for quarterbacks. Like it's I
Joey
apologize.
Porter,
There was a second 300-yard passer Raiders in week 3 against you guys.
yeah, Devontae Adams had like 100 something yards that game.
Yeah, my apologies. There were two 300-yard passers all
I
season.
think Minka was out though.
Those were
Out.
back-to-back weeks, and that was at the beginning of the season.
I
Other
think
than that,
Minka was out then with that. He had some kind of hamstring injury or something like that.
doesn't matter.
Minka's not here again.
Doesn't
Um,
matter.
the Steelers, I mean,
I was gonna say
the
like
pass rush is going to be good. The
exactly.
Steelers are going to, my guess is they stop the run. They're going to get to the quarterback a few times. TJ Watt will probably have one sack or so.
Don't forget about your boy you've been talking about back there in the
Joey
back
Porter
end.
Jr.
Yes,
is
he's a
an
dog.
elite. He's making a name to be an elite lockdown cornerback, which is fucking awesome, man. He shuts down the big dogs. He wasn't playing when Devontae Adams was there. They did not insert
Yep.
him into the lineup back then.
Yep.
He's gonna shut down T Higgins. There's gonna be calls against him. It depends on. I was listening to a podcast. So what I'm saying isn't really my own thoughts, but it depends on how they call this game. I think it was DK Pittsburgh Sports. They do a daily show. Um, it depends on how they're going to call this game. Are they going to throw a flag every time T Higgins and Joey Porter Jr. are catching hands? Or are they going to let them play football? If they're not going to let them play football, the Steelers are going to have a whole lot of deep penalties against them, putting the Bengals in great scoring position. If they're going to let them play football, Joey Porter is a dog. That guy's got long arms. He's a long dude. He keeps up with the studs as a rookie. He's a great cornerback. Um, but I still think us missing our safeties, KZ, Minka Fitzpatrick, having no middle linebackers. I guess so I saw today Miles Jack, who played for us last year, he was our leading tackler, is coming back this week. He was on like a 3 or 4 week conditioning stint to get him football ready. I guess he's going to be playing. They
That'll
got rid of
help.
Anthony McFarland. I don't know if you remember him. He was a
Not at
third
all.
he was a third string running back, sometimes a second string running back. He kind of fell off the earth a little bit, but he was a big part of the offseason development of the offense, but he kind of got injuries and disappeared. But I still think that the Bengals they're gonna do everything that every team's been doing to us. They're gonna dice up the middle of the field, which can't cover anything. You can throw the running back out there, tight ends out there, anything. Jake Browning is not the same quarterback that came through when the Steelers beat them 4 games ago, which was their last win. I just don't. The Steelers stink. Mason Rudolph is not going to shine his little red light and win the game.
I
I mean,
think I think this game is going to come down to there's a very simple game plan to defend the Bengals from this POV, in my opinion, and you just better not screw it up. And it's going to come down to can the Steelers straight up put enough points on the board to back up the work their defense is going to put in? Because
there's your answer.
if you just bracket T Higgins and key in on Joe Mixon, that offense is going to be quite inept. Make those other
Not even
random dudes
close.
make those other random dudes beat you
They will.
like the what's that one guy's name specifically? I can't think of it off the top of my head. But like every time they say his name, I am like, oh, yep, that's what it is. One
What
second.
team?
The Bengals. He's like
Oh, the smart or something.
no, you know what I'm talking
That
about.
white, that white,
The
white,
white kid,
that white
yeah.
wide receiver. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
What's his
gonna do that,
name?
man. The Steelers do not have a team to cover this many people with how many they have so many injuries on defense. They're not gonna be able to cover that.
Tanner
And
Hudson. That's the
they're
one.
okay. There's
Tanner
another dude
Hudson. I
too.
mean, he's the tight
Simple,
end, not a wide
sample,
receiver. Yeah,
sample or
Drew
simple.
Sample, Tanner Hudson are
Yeah,
their tight ends. Like go make those dudes beat
they
you.
will. That's
Like
what
the only the Tyler
that's
Boyd
what
can beat him. That's the one that I'd be worried
Henry did
about.
it. Henry did it with the Patriots. They're going to do it.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi beat the Steelers with Henry. All they had to do was play offense for 2 quarters, and
I
they
don't know,
beat the
man.
Steelers. The
I still
Steelers
think it's
can
a Mike Tomlin
see
game, dude.
like what you just said. Where usually like if the Steelers can score enough offense and their defense is going to do it. That's the red flag is saying Steelers and offense together. It's not a thing this year.
I
It
just
hasn't
don't
been a thing for 2 years, almost 3 years
I
now.
just don't think they're going to turn the ball over. Now, when you can keep your own possessions and not just give them
That's the one
extra,
benefit of Kenny Pickett.
that's I'm talking about from Mitch, like
Mitch
anybody
isn't
but
playing.
Mitch. Yes, that's what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Rudolph will take care of the ball. That's like
Rudolph has
I think the only
st
way he throws a pick in this game is if it's a tipped pass. Like,
statistically, Rudolph is a better quarterback in games played than Kenny Pickett, and
yeah,
Rudolph looks like an NFL
he
quarterback.
looks like a vet now.
He has a body build and he poses himself. He's a pocket quarterback, which our era, me and you
Yes,
appreciate that a lot.
he kind of
Somebody
looks like a
that's gonna sit
Flacco.
I mean, he looks like a mini version of Big Ben. He's got a cannon for an arm. The way he runs around and sheds tackles, he kind of looks like a mini Big Ben. That's kind of what he was coming out as. Man, I hope that he does great, dude. I hope that I'm wrong for picking the Bengals.
I think it's gonna be an ugly ass game. I just think Pittsburgh's pulling it out. I
Yeah, I mean,
I have a hard time seeing either team scoring like 20 points here.
I hope whatever. I hope that Mason Rudolph has a game, and I mean, I like I I like Mason Rudolph as a quarterback. I like the way he plays. You know what the best thing I like about this dude is the way he posed himself throughout all this Steelers bullshit the past however many freaking weeks that they've had of media drama and all that. You watch interviews of Mason Rudolph. He's like, "Hey man, I don't need to prove any." He said, "It's like I don't have to prove anything to anybody." He's like, "I'm here." He's just the type of dude that he's like, "I'm just gonna do the best that I can, and this is why I'm here." And that is the vibe that the Steelers need is somebody that's just gonna be like the part that I like about him. I whatever. I keep rambling, but that dude, if he throws a touchdown pass, like a deep ball, or if their running back is running, I guarantee you Mason Rudolph is running down the field like a Drew Lock trying to block because he wants to win. And there's no other Steelers quarterback. I think Kenny Pickett would if he was healthy, but he's never healthy. Your best ability is your availability. Kenny Pickett doesn't have that. Mason Rudolph's going to run down the field, lay blocks. If he throws a bomb for a touchdown, he's going to be freaking out in the end zone with his receiver. He's the vibe that the Steelers need, not a fucking Mitch Trubisky who's a bum. Still
Yeah, and
think
I
they
wouldn't.
lose, but I think it's going to be a game, like you said. I think it's going to be a game.
I think it'd be an ugly ass game, but I wouldn't be surprised if George Pickens is benched for this game either.
He's not going to be there. Mike Tomlin already said he isn't going to be.
Hey, there's nothing more demoralizing than showing up, being ready to go out in the field, and then the coach saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no, you're sitting out."
The biggest problem with that is
Tomlin's not above that.
and he's not going to do it. He's softer than baby shit. Um, Rudolph can throw a deep ball. He is phenomenal with a deep ball. That's what he's known for in college. He did it great in Pittsburgh. You look at any of his highlights, he throws a beautiful deep ball. And there's one player on this team that can catch a deep ball, and that's George Pickens. They're
Best
not
wide
benching him.
receiver you got.
They're go they're gonna throw if they're probably gonna have George Pickens just run straight the entire game. Just run, go straight, go straight.
Yeah, and speaking of another guy that I hope just does that the entire game, let's move on here to the next game. That's Mr. Stephon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills. I hope he does that a lot to this Chargers defense out there in LA. Buffalo is favored currently by 12.5.
Big line, man. I'm with you. Both of us, T. Higgins fantasy owners. We're probably gonna throw a lot of fantasy references here
T.
because
Higgins.
big week. Stephon Diggs, sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
I want no part of T. Higgins. Don't ever insult me like that again.
Both of us,
I got people
Stephon
in my
Diggs
league
owners.
who think that T. Higgins is like this bona fide number one stud wide receiver. I'm like, yeah,
He's gonna
whatever
be a
world you want to
WR1
live
somewhere
in.
next year.
We'll see. We see a lot of these guys who we all say that, and then all of a sudden it happens, and oh, they're just not ready to be a number one. Look at Juju.
So
I mean,
let me
but
throw you my
digress.
notes,
Talking
and then you want
about
to
Steph
talk.
Diggs here.
Yeah. So what I said was picking this line is going to be tough. I imagine the Chargers getting some junk time here. But even with that junk time, I don't think Easton Stick without Keenan Allen has the ability to keep this within 12 and a half points. I just don't think there's a chance.
Yeah,
I
the only
I
ice cold chance in hell that they have is somehow being able to run the ball, just keep Josh Allen on the sideline. That's just not going to happen. Buffalo's defense has been looking a
and
lot better as of late.
yeah, they've been looking phenomenal. Like the one thing that I hope from this game, kind of in my head, I was thinking, okay, Josh Allen has to be going to this game. It's kind of like a practice game. Like, I mean, you can't have that attitude, but
I
at the
don't think
same
they're
time,
sleeping on him. That's for sure.
they can't sleep on them. But I hope they're not sleeping on them where they're gonna bury them. I hope that they work on their pass game because they need to, because they're gonna need that
Yeah.
pass game going into the playoffs. And this is a perfect game. Like if they're up by a shit ton of points, keep rolling with your game and dink and doink them with the pass game. Like get your game right.
Yes, I agree.
Don't
Get a
give
good rhythm
Allen a
going.
90-yard game and run the ball the whole time. You need to get the reps ready for a real playoff game because the Bills are a real playoff team. They're going to play important games in the coming weeks, and they need to get ready for those games. And having this cakewalk, seemingly cakewalk, they need to make sure they're working on this pass game because they haven't been using Diggs. They need to use Diggs. Not for
Yeah,
because we have him in fantasy, but because they're going to need him to win a championship. And this
agreed.
team is built for a championship. And they started off very slow. You
Been
know,
saying it since they lost to the Eagles.
yeah, they started
Buffalo
off
to the
slow,
bowl.
but they need to get Gabe Davis can't be laying goose eggs. Dalton Kincaid can't be laying goose eggs. They need to get those studs implemented into this game plan
Yeah.
because if they're just like, oh, we're just running the ball, we don't have like that's not going to work when you're in the playoffs. That's not going to work.
I, I
So
I agree with you to an extent. I think 75% of their passing game is functional. I do think that there's 25% of it that they need to work on. And this is a game
yeah,
where you can't be sleeping on them and you need to, pretty much put the nails in the coffin here. Like I think McDermott's going to have them fired up. Like this is huge. Like they're not even in the playoffs technically right now. Like they know how important it is for them to win out. And I think they're going to come out firing. I think they're going to put them away for sure. But I to a degree, like I hope you're right, and I hope they do look at it like a little practice session in some essence, to where they can work on the pass game. Because I completely agree, they're going
yeah,
to
they're
need to be
blowing out. They should work on the pass
they're going
game.
to need to have that 100% capability in the pass game. Because like those, I noticed the last like probably like 5-6 weeks, like we see some Josh Allen plays here and there, but like, and this is a credit to them not leaning on Josh Allen entirely, which they should not. But like the Josh Allen plays that we're seeing of late are like him with the ball in his hands, not someone making a crazy catch downfield that he chucked 70 yards.
Yeah,
And that's what they need to start throwing the ball deep again. They
he's got
just don't.
26 touchdowns. It
I
feels
would
like
be, I
none
would
of
be,
those have been in the past few games. He's
yes.
got to get back to that Josh Allen. We,
All
we
his
know you can
touchdowns
rush
lately
it,
are coming
bro.
with his legs.
Yeah,
Like,
we know you can rush it and do that, but you need to get it with that arm. Stephon Diggs has 8 touchdowns. When's the last time he had a touchdown? I don't
it's
even know.
yeah, he barely crossed over 1,000 yards in this last game.
So
Barely. He's at like 1,041 on the season right now. And dude,
yeah,
he was at like 800 or something like weeks ago. Like
yeah,
like 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 4 or 5 weeks ago or something like that. And I completely agree. Like they
yeah.
need to
We're on
get
the
that
same
ironed
page for
out,
sure.
because if they can get that going, that's what you need to be a Super Bowl winning team. Like not only does the ball need to bounce your way, you got to play at least sound defense. Be able to get a stop when you need one, not stop them every time, but get a stop or make a play
Yeah.
when you need it. Like they spent the draft capital. They went and got the big arm to go throw in the cold weather. Like at some point you need to be in the last trade is like you need to be able to get cheap touchdowns. Like you need to be able to have schemed up plays, or you need to be able to have dudes that can just outperform your opponent. It's like Josh
It,
Allen can do things no one else can. Use the arm, throw the
the
ball deep.
the
Like
coolest thing too is Gabe Davis can lay goose eggs, then he can go get 100 something yards.
yeah,
But
like it's not like they don't
use
have the
him,
people to do this.
use him. We're on the same page, man.
Yeah.
They hopefully they are like, hey, we got the run game. This is kind of sick, but we need to dial in this other. There's a lot more facets to this offense that are going to have to be dialed in before we enter important games.
It just reminds me of like Preacher's Son effect. Like they haven't been able to run the ball for years, and now suddenly they can, and they're like, "Oh my god, we got to like preserve Josh Allen forever and just run, 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 run." And it's
Then you
like
lose what Josh Allen is.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You need to be more balanced. Don't be so run dominant. Like you don't want to be one dimensional on any phase here. But
So you're taking that line.
yeah, I'm
Buffalo
gonna take
minus
that line.
12 and a half.
I think they're going to dominate them. I think this is a get right in the deep ball game. I expect to see some explosive plays in the passing game for the Bills, because not
Bury
only
them.
not only like I say do we think they need to work on them a bit, but like dude, the Bills have just had a horrific secondary matchup the last like 4 games, man. Like it's understandable why their wide receivers have kind of been put in the clamps as of late. Like
Yeah,
they've been
but the
playing some
playoffs
tough teams,
are going
dude.
to be tough.
Oh yeah, it is.
They need
But
to get the timing down too. If you go in these huge gaps, your timing is thrown off.
yeah,
I mean, granted, you can practice as much as you want, but practice isn't real football. Granted,
exactly.
neither of us know
It's not game
because we've never
speed.
played, but it's not game speed. It's not against people that want to kill you. So
Yeah.
but
But
I'm with you. I think the Bills get a convincing win here, and we're both taking a minus 12.5. Let's go, Buffalo.
exactly.
We
And
all want to see
honestly,
him in the playoffs.
yeah, for real. I mean, at this point, I hate to admit it, but I do think that if the Niners and Philly met again, I think I'd be wrong and the Niners would beat Philly. And I would not be mad seeing a Niners Buffalo Super Bowl. That'd be like, I hate the Niners with every fiber of my being, but I mean, that'd be entertaining. I mean, you're talking a
That'd be good.
one game winner take all. The smart man would probably take the Niners,
What about Rams
but
Bills?
I'd be taking the Bills in that one. I'd be taking that Mandalorian coming to steal your soul wearing 17 over there in Buffalo. I
I
love
don't hate
that.
a little Rams 49ers playoff matchup.
I do. Yeah, I would love to see the
Man, they're
Rams knock them out because
sick.
I think they're the 49ers kryptonite, honestly, because we all know Dallas ain't.
Ooh-wee.
But oh man, now I'm over here fantasizing about Josh Allen winning a Super Bowl. It's gonna be great.
I may get an Allen jersey.
Dude, you're reading my mind. If Josh Allen gets to the bowl and wins it, like he's one of my favorite players I
Have
think
you
I've
been to
ever seen.
Buffalo?
I'd probably go buy a jersey with a patch on it. But no, I have
We
not been to
last
Buffalo.
last
I've
time
been
I
to
was
New
in
York, but
Buffalo.
I haven't been to Buffalo.
Last time I was in Buffalo for a Penguins Buffalo Sabres game. People in Buffalo are phenomenal. They love drinking beer. Mike loves drinking beer. These people are great. I stayed in Allentown. They had big ass posters, like big heads of Josh Allen.
Oh,
Obviously, Allentown not named after Allen, but they were
the
boasting
savior.
about it. It was awesome.
He's the savior, man. But
Yeah.
all right, with that, we're gonna take a break here before we get into the Sunday slate of games. All righty, everybody, welcome back in here to T1FP. We got the Sunday slate of games here, starting out with the Green Bay Packers going to Carolina to face the Panthers. Green Bay is currently favored by 5 points, and honestly,
4.
oh, it's now 4. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
looking at the
Very good. I
okay.
just I just changed it. I'll re-upload, but yeah,
Sounds
4
good.
now.
Yeah, so they're favored by 4, and man, that makes it even tastier. Definitely taking this line. I do like the Panthers to keep it close and sticky and kind of ugly in like the first half, but I expect Green Bay to pull away. I expect this to be a good bounce back game because I don't think that I don't know. I don't think that our playoff hopes are like really all that alive, and
No.
I think it's kind of known through the locker room. But I do think that this team has a lot of pride, and we're really young, and obviously the coaches want to squeeze all the development that they can get out of this season. So I think we're going to see improvement. I for damn sure better see some improvement on the defensive side of the ball, and if I just want to see the dudes execute better primarily. I don't expect the scheme to get better because Joe Barry sucks, but I just, man, like this has to be the game. Like you're playing the pitiful Carolina Panthers. This is the most get right opportunity that like you have laid out in front of you for the rest of the season. Because next
Yeah.
week they face Minnesota, and that like they've kicked our ass before. I'd rather not. All right, like let's at least get a dub here and have some confidence going into that game.
I completely agree with everything you're saying, man. I think they have the perfect opportunity for a bounce back game here. Um, they should have a bounce back game. The defense still sucks, which is why the game's going to be closer than
Yeah,
we'd like it to be.
exactly.
The Packers injuries are freaking brutal, man. So many injuries. It's unbelievable, actually. Like,
Speaking of
I mean,
injuries, I mean, my boy Jair Alexander, I mean, it seems this is kind of what I thought was happening a few weeks ago, but it seems to me that the Packers kind of miscalculated the severity of his shoulder injury. And they were kind of like, hey, why aren't you practicing? Why aren't you playing? And he's like, well, I don't want to go because I don't feel right. And lo and behold, yep, now the reports come out that his shoulder injury was a bit more severe. And it's like, at this point, like, just shut him down. I just want to see him healthy for next year. He's probably the best player we have on defense, in my opinion. It's arguable with Rashawn Gary, but I mean, yeah, this is a get right game. Like, I need to see something here. I
yeah.
expect Jordan Love to be Jordan Love. I think he's just going to make plays. I think it's going to be a tough day for the first half. That's for sure. If he can avoid the mistakes, if it's,
If they can get a rhythm, he's going to be good. If they
yeah,
can't
but
get a rhythm,
this
it's
Carolina
going to be
defense
rough.
is stingy. So, especially in the pass game, I think if he can make the smart plays of, hey, it's third down or whatever, it's like, and ultimately throwing the ball away is better than taking a sack or turning the ball over. That's the choice he needs to make. And that's what I want to start seeing from him.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game, but I think the Packers pull this one off, man. I don't really have too much more to say.
Oh, I
Like,
think we get rolling in the second half. Like, I think that's when it gets going. I think we're going into half like probably like 10-3 or like
Yeah.
7-7, something like that, and then LaFleur chews ass at half, and then all of a sudden the offense gets it going, and like they're able to kind of. I mean, Carolina is just going to be so bad that I think our defense will have enough pride to just shut them down in the second half. Pretty
I'm
easy.
at the point of the season with the Packers and the Steelers, although they're both in contention for the playoffs. I want to see something different. I don't really care about the win. I want to see a fight
Yes.
more than a
Oh,
win.
yeah, we better win. Let's say that. But the effort is more important than the win. I
Yeah.
completely agree. If we lose to Carolina, dude, that's like
I think they've had
that's
zero
pretty
fourth quarter leads
egregious.
this year.
I mean,
They've had zero fourth quarter leads and they have 2 wins.
we've already lost to Desmond Ritter and Tommy Cutlets. Like, I swear to God, if you put Bryce Young on this list of losses, I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
be.
that may be the best.
You're gonna want to just leave me alone Sunday. Don't talk to me until I hit you up. Let's put it that way. But with that
Hey,
being said, I will also have the same implications based upon this next game we're about to talk about. Colts at Falcons here. The line is currently Atlanta -2.5.
neither of us are taking that line, and I know you're going to
No.
agree with me.
Yes, not at all. And I preface this game by saying my mood will also be determined because your boy has Jonathan Taylor. Through all
He's trying to ruin his own Christmas.
through all of this last off season, the injury, the contract, the drama, everything. I went back and forth. Should I trade him? Should I not? I mean, dynasty league, top 3, top 5 running back in my
Next
opinion.
year.
It's like, man,
Next year.
I'm talking about talent wise. Like,
No,
if you look,
next year. This year, relying on this dude.
no, that I'm talking about that was coming into this year. Like
No, I'm
all,
saying
all this
next year
stuff,
is
like
when it's
I
going to come
almost traded
together.
him, and now it's like I held on to him instead of Tyreek, and now all of a sudden, like it's coming full circle. Like, dude, he really might win me a chip right now, a little earlier than expected. Like,
I'm
I
worried.
I foresee him getting all the work. All the reports seem to be very good. Atlanta is faltering right now, man. The Colts are rolling red hot. This game is in a dome. This has Colts Stampede written all over it to me. I like Colts to win in convincing fashion.
I'm with you on the Colts winning. I'm worried about how much mental capacity you have riding on Jonathan Taylor coming back from an injury and his season of detriment. Like it's just been like when he's played, he's been good, but it's just this has not been his year, obviously.
Well,
Um,
no, he hasn't been racking off 20+ point games every week, but I'll say
so
this, it's totally different. Like, how do I it's not like he's still rehabbing off the ankle. It's not like he needs a ramp up
how do you
time.
know that?
Because he just
He's
played for like 8 weeks straight or something like that. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden he gets this minor injury to his thumb. It's been 3 weeks. It's not like he hasn't been doing individual work on
yeah,
the
but he's got to get
side.
his head back. It's a
And he
mental
just and he
game.
just practiced in full all 3 days
Practice.
this
We
week.
just talked about how practice isn't is it's not it's applicable, but it's not as hey, dude, I 100% hope you're right, man.
All
For
I
your
know
sake. I'm
is
not playing anything Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor's a Wisconsin boy. I'm
I
not
I
at
think that's
all
kind of nutty
opposed.
that you want no part of him this week, especially considering that David Onyemata, the Falcons' defensive tackle, he's questionable,
I
and
don't
Bud
think
Dupree, their linebacker, is also questionable. And it's like those are some key cogs to the run defense. I honestly, I don't
I
think
just
he's
don't
going to
think
go
he's
have a 200-yard day, but I think we're
okay.
going to see a vintage moment.
I
Like
think we're gonna see like a 70 to 100 yard one touchdown game.
I could see. I'm honestly thinking he's going to get 100. I don't think he'll get more than like 120 and a touchdown. Like I
We're close to the same
Yeah,
vibe.
but dude, 100 yards and a touchdown, that's like a
That's a
stand.
great
That's always a great game from a
no,
running
that's
back.
what
You
I'm
know what I
saying.
mean?
That's
Like,
what I'm saying. I think he's gonna have a
oh,
standard game, not
I'm
a Jonathan Taylor game. I think
he.
he's gonna have a I
I
think
think
he's gonna
we're.
have a standard game, not a JT game.
I think he will have the opportunity to, and that's only for the fact that number one, these guys are questionable coming in for the Falcons, and number two, he's fresh. Like he hasn't played of the whole year. Like I do think he's gonna find a crease, and it might not be for a touchdown, although I'm hoping it is. But I think we're gonna see a 40+ yard run from Jonathan Taylor. I
I
think he's gonna rip one off because he's been looking good, man.
I
He
like
was heating up, heating up, heating up, and then boom, the thumb. It was like,
I
man,
would not be surprised.
yeah.
But
I
I think that there needs to be expectations when a player comes back from injury as far as the mental going into the game. But
I heard that
still the
there's not
same.
even a guarantee he's even going to like wear a soft splint or something on his
I
hand.
think it's like
He's
a
like,
wrap, like a light wrap on
I
his
heard he
finger.
might, and I've heard other reports that he's not. Like, so
Regardless, yeah, I
it's
don't
that's
care
how
about his
minor it
thumb or
is.
anything. I think I don't really think about his thumb. I think more about the mental aspect of the game. A running back gets like getting those reps. It's like a Derrick Henry. They get better
Staying in
throughout the
rhythm. I get what
game.
you're saying.
So like that has a lot to do with it, especially with an offense that I mean, they're not totally in their rhythm. They're kind of in their rhythm. They're on a heater. I mean, I like the Colts to win this game, and I think that Arthur Smith should be canned as a coach because he doesn't
Yes.
know how to use Bijan, which we've talked about Bijan a million times. Like, give him the fucking ball. Like, they made Algier the number one running back last week for some reason. What are you
He's
doing?
their cold weather guy. But I mean, hey
Oh,
man,
fuck.
I will
I mean,
say
get out of here. Get out
in
of here with your
184 attempts, that man has 0 fumbles. Give
I
Tyler
don't
Algier
care.
his credit. How many fumbles Bijan got on the season?
Good for Algier. Throw some dump balls to Bijan. Your team's desperate. Let's see what this dude has. He's a rookie. Let him explode. I don't know. But either way, the Falcons, they're going to get out coached by the Colts. The Colts don't
Yeah.
even need JT to beat them. JT adds an element. I can't believe this line's -2.5 to Atlanta, to be fair, with Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman coming back. Colts win.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, going back to Bijan, it's like Bijan has, let's see here, how many carries? Bijan has 176 carries, so almost identical number of carries to Algier. He's got 3 fumbles on the year.
I mean,
So maybe he's just
you want to know one
how
thing I
many
have to
running
say
backs
about
get
that?
benched like intermittently throughout a year for fumbling, and it's usually when they're young. Like I guess it's not that all uncommon. I do think he needs to get the ball more, but I to some degree I understand why he's like, no, dude, sit your ass down, hold on to the ball. Like
You know, one
it's a
thing I have to
torrential
say about that
downpour in
though,
Carolina. I'm not going to give my most fumble prone back the ball.
it's
I
like
get it.
I almost attest his fumble proneness to the shitty coaching and not having him in the rhythm of the
Yeah,
game.
the
Like
rhythm is a big thing. Like I
they don't.
totally agree with you on the
We've been
rhythm.
bitching about Bijan being in the rhythm forever, and he's still a top running back, but he's still not. You don't feel like he's in the rhythm of the game. When you're not in the rhythm, you're fumbling the ball. You're acting like a donkey.
I mean, for fantasy football purposes, I hope Bijan does not get into a rhythm because I'm playing against him this week. It's the battle of the backs, Bijan
Like
versus JT. So,
Bijan fucked me in the ass last week.
yes,
So
he
let's move
did
on to the
with no
Seahawks
lube.
Titans. No fucking lube at
Yeah,
all.
Seahawks at Titans. What's the line on this one, Mike?
Seattle -3.5 still.
All right.
Titans are dead inside.
Yes.
Uh, so you're also taking this line.
100%. I love Gino to go torch this terrible secondary of
Yeah, the
Tennessee.
offensive weapons of the Seahawks are going to just beat up on the Titans. I actually saw Will Levis. He was practicing today. Ian Rappaport tweeted a video of him, so he may be playing.
He seemed like
Regardless,
a tough son of a gun, that's for sure.
he is a tough SOB, but regardless, this team, old Derrick Henry, they're not. The Titans are rolling right now, or the Seahawks are rolling right now.
Yeah, they got
Uh,
that. They got the stench of the playoffs. They got that scent. They on the hunt.
Kenneth Walker is balling out. I
How
mean,
about that
they're
catch from JSN, dude? That was. I'm still just like, wow, that was
unbelievable.
beautiful.
I mean, the
Like I
throw
think
from Drew
the
Lock being
throw
on the
was
bench all
great,
year,
but I think the catch was better because he bobbled it and recontrolled it. I was like,
underrated,
chef's
underrated
kiss.
kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't have much to say here, man. I think it's gonna be
yeah, we
pretty
can
much
move
total
on.
domination.
I have the same
Seattle,
thing. I said Seattle will run the game. Seattle's run game will outperform Derrick Henry, and that's
most
they're gonna get
definitely
the lead, and then they're gonna run the ball all
kill
over
them.
them.
Better hope D Hop doesn't have a vintage day. That's the only thing they got to pray. But let's next game here. Lions at Vikings. Is the line still Detroit -3 on this one?
Yep,
All right, Detroit -3 is the line, and this is going to be a game, in my opinion. Minnesota is still feisty. I do like the
same.
Lions to win overall, and
Why did you?
this
How did you
line's kind.
know what I was thinking?
Just because we both watch football and have eyeballs. I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious that Minnesota's still feisty, and
Oh,
Lions
I
got
know,
right
but
against Denver, man. Like I think it's gonna be tight. I'm kind of nervous to take this line, but I'm gonna take this line just because I think that they're playing in a dome still. Jared Goff is still that guy in a dome. I'm gonna take the Lions. Their offense
that's
is just
okay.
too
Now I'm
potent.
gonna say, how did you know what I was thinking? This game's gonna be close. Jared Goff is not the same Goff when he's at home. He's a better home quarterback, hands down. Nick Mullins threw for 300 plus yards last game. Had what was it? Two.
And
Would he
that
had
Lions
two
defense is
turnovers
so
or something?
leaky.
They are not good against the pass, and Nick Mullins is going to chuck that ball up without giving a shit. He does not care.
Yep.
And then, I mean, man, I also think the Lions are going to win by more than 3 points, but this game's going to be close. If Kirk Cousins is playing this game, I got the Vikings winning this game.
Yeah, you're reading my mind on that one, especially with the way their defense has been playing for Minnesota, man.
I just think that the Lions have too many offensive weapons with Laporta, Gibbs, St. Brown.
Yep. I
Montgomery when they need him. Like
I think
they're
this might be
going.
a reverse order game for the Lions. They're normally a throw to run. I mean, a run to throw. I think they're going to have to throw to run.
I would. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's nice. That was really
I
nice.
think I think you're really going to have to get Laporta involved early. Break this defense in the middle of the field. That's going to soften up for the run game.
Yeah, I hope. I hope that the Vikings win. I hope we're both wrong.
That'd be cool, but
But I think the Lions have too many weapons here without a real quarterback at the helm for
I
the
mean,
Vikings. I mean,
let
they already relegated uh what's his name? Josh Dobbs to an emergency third string quarterback.
yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, let's be real. I mean, the Lions have earned this year, man. I would like to see them go on a nice little run here and see how far they can go in the playoffs. But
Yeah,
with that
as
being
as
said,
an AFC or NFC North
neighbor,
neighbor, it
they're more of
none
a
of us
neighbor
would
than
be
a rival. They're
none of us
becoming
would
a
be
rival, though.
none of us would be mad if the Lions won the Super Bowl.
I not at all. I'd be
Not at
pretty
all.
damn impressed. I'd my eyeballs would be glued
I
to
would be
that game.
clapping, man. Like, fuck yeah, good for you guys. They deserve it
Well,
because you guys usually suck at everything. So
speaking of Super Bowls, these teams ain't even dreaming of it this year. Commanders at
they
Jets is the
were.
next game
One of
here.
these teams was
They
dreaming of it
were
at the
dreaming. The
beginning of
Jets
the
were, and honestly, how are you not taking this line is my only question. I think with A-Rod being back, at least like in the practice squad, on the roster, like literally there, like he's solidified the fact that hey, I'm coming back next year. And dude, Aaron's a vet. He's a pro. I think Salah's a pro. I actually like Salah as a coach. I really hope they don't fire him. I think he's pretty solid. I'd like to see what they can do next year with what
They
they
have to
hope they
keep
would
the
have
band
this year.
together for next
Yes,
year.
I
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
agree. But I think those guys are gonna like they got a lot of pride. They have so much talent over there, and when you're that talented, there's no way you don't have pride and ego. I think the
Who's
Jets.
the quarterback this week?
I think it's Trevor Simeon,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
that's why I'm not taking this line.
Yeah, I think the Jets win this by at least a field goal, just for the fact that this Commanders defense is so soft. The Jets will at least be able to get field goals, and that'll be enough to beat this Commanders team. And not only that, but do you smell that? I smell something bacon. I think I smell a turnover bacon, and it's got a 6 written on it. I smell a either fumble recovery for 6, scoop and score type deal, or a pick 6 for the Jets defense this week, man. I mean, the
You're an idiot.
Commanders. No, I'm serious. The
No,
Commanders. The
I agree with
Commanders.
you, but
Okay, I was
you were
gonna
just
say,
funny.
yeah, okay. The Commanders, they throw the most. I mean, Sam Howell is so reckless. Like, I just
I wish Jacoby Brissett was playing this whole game.
dude, if Jacoby plays this
You
game,
wouldn't take that line.
here's what I'm worried about taking this line is if I take this line and Jacoby comes in at halftime or like pretty much at any point during the game where it can actually be saved, I think Washington can cover this line or beat them. But if it's gonna be Sam Howell for the game, I love the Jets line here. So I'm gonna roll with it. I need to play
Yeah.
catch up with you anyways. Why not roll the dice? I
mean,
I got a little too risky earlier in the
you
year,
risk
and now it's kind of out of
you're
reach.
betting on my
So
Steelers winning, so you're really gonna need these.
yeah, I told you I need to roll the dice here this week. So well, let's move on to the next game
Well, I
here.
didn't even get to talk about this.
Well, it didn't seem like you wanted to.
Well, I got notes.
Okay.
I said so. What my first note was the Jets defense is the only thing not in question about this game. They're the only thing that is going to show up. My only worry is later in the game, does anybody give a fuck? And that
Jets
could
want
make
this
the
win bad.
I don't think the Jets care. They just don't want to get injured. Nobody wants to get injured. They're ready for next season when our favorite quarterback of all time is going to be at the helm of that team. Screw injury. Let him burn you. I ain't burning a hammy out. Okay, you can have the deep ball, blah, 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 because the Commanders throw deep balls. Let him have it. Whatever. They're playing for next year. Jets are going to be the worst team of the season this year or close to the bottom of the league. And next year they're going to be in the fucking Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
So you're already gonna have a top 5 pick. What does it matter if it's 4 or 5? I think I do it.
Don't matter.
I'm not saying
They
you're
ain't
flawed
risking
for thinking
injury.
like this, but I am gonna say that you wrong, man. We gonna
Hey,
see. We gonna see. We gonna see.
I'm up by you by a good 4 picks. I'm being right. So
That bald-headed coach of theirs over there in Jersey. You in the words of him, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. And you downing the fact that Jets
his
team's got a
team's
lot of
never been
pride and
popping,
ego right
so.
now, and they're gonna fold it in and play to not get injured. That's George Pickens talking right there. I don't hear that. The Jets gonna go compete. They want this
Your
dub.
brain is wasted by fucking Jets fans, man. Get
I
out of
don't.
here.
No way, man. They're too
That team's
talented.
been terrible
Dudes that
forever.
talented don't have like. There's no way you don't have.
It's hard to
pride and
turn the
alter
dog
ego.
off. It's hard to turn
Exactly.
the dog off.
That's what I'm saying. That's
I
a
get
way
what you're
better way of saying it. It's hard to turn the dog off.
I get what you're saying, dude. But also
I
when
just
you got
want
a
a
real
bragging rights
dog,
bet.
when you got a real dog, they're smart. And they know what they have to lose. They don't give a fuck if they lose. If they lose, they get a better player on their roster.
That's the thing.
They're
They're not a
ready.
real dog this year. The Jets aren't a real dog this year.
Okay.
Like they know the season's over. They're like, fuck it. What does it matter if we pick at 4 or pick at 5? We know we're getting a top 5 pick.
This game is really just it's a coin flip. This game's a coin flip. Like the Jets have like I said at the beginning of this, the only thing not in question, their defense. But at the same time, the Commanders can all of a sudden throw up a shit ton of points. Like actually also without the running back. We didn't mention that.
I don't think it really matters, man. I think this Jets D is way too good. I don't think the Commanders offense can just go score points like you're talking about. Usually when they do, it's in garbage time.
No, I don't think they can just go score points.
Oh, you're saying a what if. I see.
The Jets can't.
Yeah.
Next, all right, let's move on.
I get what you're no, I get what you're saying. I just watch. We're here talking about it like it's this coin flip game, and like
it is a coin flip game.
Well, watch the football gods come sprinkling. Sam Howell comes out gunning, and like there's like a blocked punt for the Jets, and like all of a sudden it's like 21-0 with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Washington's up. Like weird shit like that happens.
Those first two things that you said, I could see happening. Sam Howell throwing some crazy deep balls and the Jets block a punt.
No, I'm saying and the Jets get a punt blocked, and that's how the Commanders get another score, and all of a sudden they're up 3 possessions with like 4 minutes into the game. I could see some dumb shit like that happening. It's football. It happens every year. You know what I mean?
It's going to be a shit show game. If I was at this game, I'd be drinking a ton of beers.
Honestly, it is scheduled to be so crummy. I hope it rains. I want it to be terrible.
Just make
But yeah, let's move on to the next game.
You're nasty, dude.
Cleveland at the Texans. Cleveland is favored by 3 points, and this is the game of the week where I say, I don't want to pick. You go first.
Yes. Cleveland -3, yes.
You're taking that? That's all you got to say?
CJ Stroud's not playing.
I know.
Texans aren't winning.
Big sad.
Yeah. Although the Browns defense is not good on the road, but they're playing whoever the backup is for the Texans.
It's going to be,
So
I think, Case Keenum again.
whatever. I don't care. Uh, the Browns are going to win this game. They're going to have Joey Flacco at the helm. The defense, although they are not good on the road, they are going to beat up on a backup quarterback. The Texans season is done. The Texans have a shitload to look forward to next year.
Yeah, this is
They
the
need
team I see not playing for, like playing to not get injured is what you were talking about with the
they
Jets.
they're going to be very good next year. The Browns
Scary.
probably aren't going to be good next year. The Texans are going to take their spot next year. Let them have their spot this year. Texans are going to take your spot next year.
Ooh, I like it. Spicy.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have Joey Flacco next year. Joey Flacco has been great. Good for him, man. He's not
That's
winning a
not what
Super.
you're saying. You're saying they're gonna have Deshaun next year.
And Deshaun
I
stinks
know
at
what you're
football.
saying. You're not saying they're not gonna have Flacco. You're saying Deshaun will be back.
You taking Deshaun or CJ Stroud? You're taking CJ
No,
Stroud.
I'm taking CJ Stroud. Yeah, I'm
Exactly. And
taking. I
Deshaun
get what you're saying.
stinks.
I know you have the disdain for that dude. I'm
It's not even that dude. I
talking about
hope
Deshaun. You're like that dude sucks.
no.
Like you think
I
like
I don't think I was a big fan of him with the Texans
yeah, but not anymore.
because he hasn't proved anything. I don't care
I
about
get
his
it. I'm just
losses. I like a
I'm
massage,
I'm
dude.
usually the one
That's
who's trying to
nice.
defend him, I'm just saying you're like they're not gonna have Flacco. I'm like that was so nice of you, Mike, to not just straight up say because Deshaun will be back. That's the nice way of you saying that.
But
I
yeah,
agree with you, man. No CJ, no dub. That's about all I got to say here. Cleveland's too complete. I think the Texans are looking ahead to next year.
yeah.
Let's
I
move on to the
can't wait
next
to see
game
the
here.
Texans next
I'm
year,
so
man.
excited for this first 3 o'clock game we got rigged up.
Minus
Jaguars
one and a
at
half now.
Bucks. Tampa Bay is favored by 1.5 only.
1.5.
Unreal. I am smashing this line.
I'm not.
I don't
Oh,
know why. Trevor
timeout,
Lawrence isn't
timeout,
going to
timeout,
play. Baker and the boys have been rolling. Like,
timeout. What was your pick for that last game? I don't think we got your solid
oh, yeah,
pick.
my apologies. I am taking that line with you. I think Cleveland's going to win it and win it convincingly.
Uh, T-Law. Okay, going back to this next game now.
Yeah,
Trevor
T-Law's
Lawrence
not
has not
playing.
been ruled out.
I heard he's not going to play.
I have not heard that,
Let
and
me
I
double
am.
check. Let's do some research here while we're recording.
Um,
Last I heard, he was not going to play.
it's questionable play,
He practiced today.
and I think they're going to hold a. If you can see my screen right now, practice for him on Sunday because they play Monday, so he can clear the protocol.
Ah, okay. So yeah, I
That's
did
what I
see.
heard.
I did see the latest update for that I could find was like 4 or 5 hours ago. Schefter says that he's questionable with his concussion and ankle, but even if he plays, I mean, there's no Christian Kirk. Zay Jones is now doubtful. Dude, they can't run the ball very well as is, and Tampa Bay is great against the run. Calvin Ridley is so hit or miss. I think it's literally going to take like it's gonna have to take multiple broken plays on the Buccaneers defensive end for the Jags to win this game. I love Baker and company here. Jacksonville's defense is in shambles right now. They used to be good at stopping the run at least. Now they're like mediocre at that, and their passing defense has been buns all year. I think that Baker's going to dot him up. I like Rashad White to have a good game too. I think the only chance that, like I said, the Jaguars have is they're going to have to hit some deep plays. They're going to have to get some big chunks, cheap touchdowns. That's the only way.
So
I
I
mean,
think
there's always turnovers, but we don't want to breed turnovers in football. Nobody likes sloppy ball.
I mean, I'm gonna put this out. I don't know if we're gonna be able to edit this, but if Trevor Lawrence isn't playing, I'm not taking this 1.5 line at all. Like no fucking chance.
Well, this
But
is
if
why
he
we
is,
wait till Friday to do the show because I already made
well,
my
this is
pick.
on
You got to make your pick.
this is on Monday. Having T Law or whoever their backup is quite the. I mean, I'll take the L, whatever.
On
But
Monday, today's Friday. They play on Sunday.
no, they play on Sunday.
Jags play Sunday. That does not you ain't getting out of this pick. This ain't no Monday night game. You're making your pick here. Jags
I
or
mean,
Bucks. Take the line.
if 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 Trevor Lawrence plays, this line shifts a whole bunch. I'm not gonna take this line. I think that Jacksonville's defense is better than what you think it is. They only allowed 10 points to the Ravens through 3 quarters the last time they played the Ravens on December 17th, which was their last game. Um, And then I just think if Trevor Lawrence plays, they're gonna pull through and win it. I think this defense is better than what we think it is. They shut down the Ravens through 3 quarters last game. What are you looking up?
I'm just looking up to see the exact stats because I know the Jags defense has not been good as of late, and I just want to.
Yeah, last game they only allowed 10 points through 3 quarters.
What was the score of the game?
23-7.
So they got the other 13 points in that game.
The
Still,
fourth quarter.
it was still in that game though.
Yeah.
I was just checking.
Hey, man.
It all counts the same in the game, Mike. I don't care about the first 3 quarters. The game's 60 minutes.
I could see this being like a little bit of a shootout here, like a little mini shootout here
I
between
definitely.
Florida teams.
I think it's going to be higher scoring.
If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, this is not going to be a game. It's not going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers are going to dominate, and I'm going to lose this. If Trevor Lawrence plays, this is going to be a game, and the Jags are very desperate for a win, and the Buccaneers are not as desperate for a win.
Yeah.
Their division rivals to get into the playoffs have been playing way worse. So I just think there's more want for it in the Jags. I think Trevor Lawrence, obviously you can't want to play when you have a concussion. It's more or less like you have to be cleared.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
literally. Are you able to?
You can't play through an injury with a concussion. So
I mean, like looking at the Jags, it's like their defense doesn't knock you off. Like it doesn't knock your socks off, but neither does their offense. I mean, they're in terms of like offense versus defense on their own team, they're kind of a 500 split almost. Like they're averaging, the Jags are scoring 22.8 points a game, and they're giving up 22.4. It's like
yeah, they're playing a Buccaneers team who's 7-7, a 500 team.
Total points, Jags scored 319. Total points their opponents have scored 313. They only have a +6 point differential on the year, and their record is so much more positive than the Buccaneers. Like
how is it so much more positive? The Bucs are 7-7. The Jags are 8-6. It's the same thing.
Dude, really? Like I think a 1 game difference here is pretty big this time of year.
Yeah, but the Bucs could easily be 8-6. The Bucs laid a couple stinkers that we bet on them winning. Like I think both these teams are pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bucs are better than people think, and I think Jacksonville has come down just a half a notch with Trevor Lawrence being injured. Like
I completely agree with that statement.
Yeah, I just don't think that like Jacksonville's defense has really been all that this year at all at any point. The only thing they were really good at was stopping the run, and now they're not terrible at it, but they've just become kind of more average at it.
My only reason behind saying that the Jags are going to win, I mean, a -1.5 line is like a dead even line. I think that the Jags are way more desperate right now.
Yeah, Jags have given up 1,500 rushing yards on the season, averaging
they've also lost
4.2 yards a clip.
They've lost the last 3 games in a row, and the Bucs have won the last 3. I think that they're more desperate to win the game. This game it's almost a zero line. A -1.5 to a team is like dead zero. They get the -1.5 because they're a home field team.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, you're going from Tampa Bay to Jacksonville. I can't imagine Florida's that far to drive across. You know, if you want to go support the other team.
I just think the desperation and Trevor Lawrence being a young guy, like I think that I mean
you're seeing this like the last 3 week narrative. I totally understand that.
I hope that I'm a bit like I had a note in here. I was like, me and you are big Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Like I mean I wouldn't be mad if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I just think that the desperation of this team has a lot to do with it. They have a Super Bowl winning coach that's going to put a game plan together. Can they stop White? Can they stop Baker? Can they stop Mike Evans? They stopped the Ravens for 3 quarters.
I mean,
I don't know.
This is
it's going to be actually a good game. I think it's going to be a good game to watch.
You're looking at it like I don't like. I'm not trying to like diminish your POV here, but like you're looking at it from like a micro perspective. In my opinion, you're looking at like the last 3 weeks. You're like, yeah, they lost the last 3. They're on a skid. They're a good team. They're desperate. They're gonna have a bounce back game. Totally see the logic in that. I use that logic a lot. In this case, like we're so late in the season, I kind of look at teams and like their overall trend, and honestly, it's kind of like if you look at the Jags here, most of their wins came early in the season. Like they started
Well, yeah,
off
obviously
like
they're on a fucking three
through
game
their
skid. They're eight
yeah
and
through
six, and they're on a 3 game skid.
well
Obviously,
through their first 8 weeks they were 6-2, and then
I mean, obviously
since then they're 2-4 in their
but
last
yeah,
6 games. So like overall they're kind of trending down, and
no shit.
the
They're
Bucks
on a
have been
three
trending
game
up.
skid, and they're 8 and 6. They're obviously trending down.
Okay, but between like from since that first loss of the 3-game skid, they only had one loss
No,
between week 12 and week 4. I just think that they the meat of like they made their heyday more in the middle of the schedule. Now it's like it's getting to crunch time, and whereas Tampa Bay is kind of the opposite, like the odds are kind of flipping in their favor.
yeah.
Tampa Bay was kind of beaten down a little more, and like the middle of their season was way bumpier. Like they started the year here through the first 6 weeks, they started 4-2, and
Hey
then
man,
and then
hey
from
man,
week 6 to week 12, they literally went let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They went 1-6
you
from
don't have
week 6 to week
you
12. So
don't
I
have to
just think
convince me because I'm the one that picked the Bucks to beat the Packers last week.
that this Tampa team, man, I'm telling you
Baker
right now,
Mayfield,
they are
Baker
the
Mayfield's
Buffalo.
24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I picked, hey,
They're kind of like the Buffalo.
you're
Yeah,
talking to the guy that picked the Bucks almost every week this season,
I
okay?
get it. I'm just saying, like I
I'm
look
just
at them
trying
as
to
the
throw a
Buffalo of the
curveball into
NFC
this.
right now. They're kind of like the team
Oh.
you don't want to see in the playoffs. You know, like I throw the Rams in there too
Yeah.
with the Buccaneers. Like those are two teams in the NFC. If they get in, you don't want to see them if you're Detroit.
Dude,
You don't want to see them if you're
Buccaneers,
Dallas.
Rams would be nasty.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, dude. If
Ooh.
you're Dallas, you don't want to see Tampa. If you're fucking
I think
if
at
you're
home
Detroit,
Dallas
you
would
don't want to see
destroy him.
Tampa. That's if Dallas is at home, totally. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like Tampa would be a stingy out, dude. Like they're like if
I'm
you're
with
at
you.
you know, like I think the Niners would have their way with them, but they've already played once, and I think that Tampa would have a better game plan. I that's all I'm saying. Like
I mean,
I'm not
I,
looking at it the last 3 weeks. I guess I've been on the Bucks a little more than the
I
Jags in
mean,
terms of research this year. So to be
football is
fair,
what
maybe
have
I'm a
you
little
done
more
for me
biased.
lately? It's
That
what
is
have you
very
done for
true.
me
It is
lately?
a what have you done for me lately league.
And I mean, I could easily see myself being wrong, but hey, I got room to gamble here.
Yeah, but let's move on to the next game. We spent a lot of time on this one.
Let's take a break here and
Okay.
let's move on to the rest of the games after the break.
All righty here. Let's get to the next game. Back from break, we got Cardinals at the Bears. This is another critical matchup for myself in fantasy football.
I did pick up James Conner in
Ooh.
our league. I don't know if I'm going to play him. Right now, I have him in.
Did you pick him up because you couldn't get James Cook because I have James Cook?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
um, I don't know where my notes went about this game, to be fair. I may have deleted them on accident.
You got some right here. I could refresh your memory.
Go ahead and you talk and let me refresh my own memory by re-downloading that spreadsheet.
All right. Well, my own notes is this line is Chicago -4, and I don't like that at all. I like Arizona to straight up win this. Like Chicago is not trying to win games here necessarily, like their life depends on it. And yeah, I really think Arizona's got something for them here, man. I think that offense has been different ever since Kyler Murray has been back. They've been able to do some things fairly well. The only thing I don't like is that they are banged up at wide receiver. I think Michael Wilson will play again this week. I don't think Hollywood Brown's going to play. I mean, they have Trey McBride, who's been on an absolute tear. I think it's going to depend on James Conner and that run game. I think if they can get the run going, which is going to be tough to do because that Bears defense is stingy. And like, dude, this just gives me the same vibe that Arizona had going to play Pittsburgh. I think Chicago's going to shoot themselves in the foot at least once during this game. Like they love to make mistakes. Arizona plays hard, man, and dude, if the Cardinals can get up on them in the first half, it's over. I think it's over.
No, the
I don't think the
Cardinals get
Bears are
junk points.
dude, they were up on the Steelers in the first half, right? And they ended up winning that game.
The Steelers are you don't if you
I think the
say the word
Steelers and the Bears are on the same level here. Like the Bears
I'd
have
rather
like
be a Bears fan than a Steelers fan right now, to be fair.
okay, I'm gonna I'm so glad this is going on the internet because I'm going to make you rewatch this when the Bears are in shambles again in less than 2 years and Pittsburgh's still just cruising along and be like, Mike, this is why you're happy to be a Steelers fan and not a Bears fan.
No,
It
I'm
doesn't
gonna be
matter who
like
the Bears get. They can go get Caleb Williams. They'll still find a way to fuck it up. It's the
the
Bears,
Steelers are
dude.
gonna be cruising along right in the middle of the field, not getting any good draft picks, and just stay there forever.
And probably winning about 6 to 7 more games on average per year than the
Cool, you're
Bears.
still not in the playoffs or you lose in the first round. I'd rather be out.
All right, you say that now until all of a sudden you're having multiple like 2-win, 3-win seasons. You know, it's like the Bears have been shit for years, dude. When's the last time, besides the 1 year with Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky, and they made the playoffs and got
No, I'd
bounced out
like,
on the double doink? When's the last time like the Bears have
you
been
know who that
have
quarterback
positive
was then?
records?
The
By Jay
scumbag
Cutler.
on my team right now. The
Oh,
last time the Bears won the quarterback was Mitch fucking Trubisky on the Steelers. I'd rather have the Steelers have a couple win seasons because they're gonna do more with a draft pick. That's what my analogy is, versus like staying mid for the fucking past 20 years. I
I
mean, they
I
did win. They
totally
went to 3 Super Bowls and they did win two, which is a lot more than people can say for a lot of their teams. But the Steelers have been mid for the past, what is it? I mean, 13, 14 years. Like, let's just stay in the mid, stay in the mid, stay in the mid. Like, if the Steelers got the opportunity to actually draft some people and stunk for a little bit, they do a lot more than what these two teams are doing. I think that they would.
I don't think you
But I'd
guys have
like
been
to
as mid as you think you've been for 15 years. Like I think
I'd
that
say we have. When's the last time Mike Tomlin won a playoff game?
I mean, you guys were just in like the AFC Championship game in like 2017 or something like that. I
That
think
was like
that
100 years ago.
yeah, sure. I think it was pretty much Big Ben's last year, which was the first Matt Canada year, all the way up until now. So like pretty much 4 years.
We
It's
lost to
like
the Browns in the playoffs.
yeah,
That's like low, low.
a
You
Matt
might as
Canada
well be
year.
a one-win fucking season losing the
Dude,
Browns in the
they
playoffs.
had the Chiefs dead the rights that year in the playoffs, and they should have beat them. That like losing to the Browns is not a big deal in my opinion. I think that was like, damn, it took a good opponent to get you guys out, and they had to have one hell of a game. Like the game started with like Ben getting that wonky snap. I'll never forget that. Like
Oh
that
my
was
God,
crazy.
Marquise Pouncey. I felt so bad for
Yeah,
that
but
happening.
I just don't think that they've been as bad as you think they've been. I think it's been a rough few years, but like, dude, you're not that far removed from the three Bs,
Oh, they're a
dude.
mid-team. They're a competitive mid-team. That's what a mid-team is. They win games, they lose games.
I used to
That's what
think
they
that way
are.
too, and then I watched the Lions knock Aaron Rodgers last year as a Packer, knocked his ass out of the playoffs when they had nothing to play for. And
That's
that's
what the
when I was
Steelers
like,
are right
man,
now. The Steelers
I
are
would have
that right
rather
now.
seen that loss in the next round. It would have been nice to see go to the playoffs one more time just to have the inkling of hope that hey, maybe there's a chance. When you have those 2-win seasons, the
I'm
season
ahead
is
of
so
you. I'm a
long
year
and
ahead of you in
miserable
that
and like you
mentality.
there's like literally no hope at all. At least when you like enter the playoffs, you have even if it's false of a glimmer of hope, it's like you still have the hope. When you're that bad consistently like the Bears, when's the last time any Bears fan has had hope?
Remember when the Steelers were 11 and 0 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Remember
Matt
that?
Canada's first year, right? And it was like the phony record year.
Remember that? That's what it's like. Okay, cool. They're in the playoffs. They're gonna lose. Even if the Steelers made the playoffs this year, they're gonna lose. Their point differential, it's fake.
All
It's
right.
not going to win you a championship. This all goes.
Jets fans have more hope than Chicago fans, and you'd rather be a Bears fan than a Steelers fan.
I'd rather be
That's a wild statement. That's all I'm gonna
I mean,
say.
I'm okay. It's an exaggeration, obviously.
I don't know about obviously. You've been pretty adamant about it for the last 3 weeks.
I'm I'm a Steelers fan through and through, no matter what. I'm gonna
Sounded like one
ride.
too. I've never had a losing season.
This is the worst season in Steelers history of my lifetime. Hands down. This is Mike Tomlin's worst season ever. This is the lowest of lows of people our age watching Steelers football, even though they're at a 500 record.
Yeah,
Hands
and the
down.
season's not even over yet.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. You have
Yeah,
to put
I'm
that
just
into
saying,
context.
and the season's not even over yet. I'm kind of adding to your point
Yeah.
here.
And then adding to that point is the fact that the biggest question mark of that team is the most important part of that team. That's a number one overall draft pick in Kenny Pickett, who probably, I don't know what he's going to turn out to be, but you have a terrible first string or first round pick quarterback as your backup who stinks. Now you got Mason Rudolph coming in. This team, like obviously I'm a Packers fan too. Like that's why I'd like to be these younger teams where, the Steelers have a great defense. Their defense is better than all these teams we're talking about when
You
they're
only
healthy.
need two things to fix your problems. The Bears need a whole lot more than two things. You guys need Kirk
But we're
Cousins
not going
and
to
an
get these
offensive
two things.
coordinator, and you'll be fine.
That's not going to happen, though.
But you act like you guys are in such shambles. You have so much talent. Sure, the quarterback's question mark. Other than that, imagine you plug someone in. That team's scary.
You can plug whoever you want in. The culture there is fucked up. Did you not just see George Pickens not do anything the last game?
You're telling me Kirk Cousins would go there and like turn into Josh Dobbs because the culture is so bad? Is that how
No,
bad
I'm
you think
just
it
saying
is?
the culture of the entire team, like that is way more important than an individual. Like I think Mike Tomlin leaving and Kirk Cousins coming in, that's a different question.
I think the culture is what it is because everybody knows Kenny ain't the guy. When you got a guy that can at least be good in the NFL, like a Kirk Cousins, look at Justin Jefferson. He bitches about Kirk Cousins, but at the end of the day, he's like, I'm not signing my deal unless I at least got Kirko or we have a good plan at quarterback.
I'm going to debunk that because Ben Roethlisberger was a quarterback and had a actually not awful last season with Matt Canada.
Because he called his own plays.
Exactly. So like that's furthering my point. Maybe Kenny could be better with a better OC. That's right.
So you're willing to say that Kenny's the biggest question mark. He's not the guy, da da da. But you're like, oh, but we just need an OC, and maybe Kenny could be better.
No.
You're a dog chasing its tail with that.
That's exactly what the whole organization is. It's a dog chasing its
So, like
tail.
I said, get a new insert veteran quarterback here, insert offensive coordinator here. Steelers' problems are solved. They're suddenly legitimate playoff threats, not just like pretend playoff threats.
And you want to know what my one caveat to that is?
Mike Tomlin, the culture.
Mike Tomlin's still the head coach of that team.
Dude, if Mike Tomlin were to quit or get fired, he would have 6 job offers within 12 hours.
Dude. They may trade him.
That'd be the best thing you could do if you are going to get rid of him. Don't get rid of him for nothing. Get something for him. I think you
when's
guys
the last time he won a playoff game?
I think you guys would be nuts to get rid of him.
When's the last time he won a playoff game?
I'm not the Steelers fan. You rattle that stat off.
I don't fucking know. I don't remember. I don't
follow you guys. I don't care.
I don't remember
the record of the Steelers. I don't even know what it is.
That's what I'm saying. They can be mid all they want. If you ain't winning, who cares if you're like, what are we doing here? Mike Tomlin didn't win it with the 3 Bs. Probably arguably one of the most historic offenses in NFL history. They were amazing.
We all know why they didn't win it.
Why?
That Jesse James catch?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why do you gotta do that?
Well, because you can't blame Mike Tomlin for that. Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game. He has in how
one
long
catch,
he hasn't
one
gotten
catch,
a Super Bowl.
One catch
that
doesn't
play
make a
alone
difference.
would have put you in the Super Bowl.
It's still, they could have had more catches throughout the game to further pad it. Like that team, one play doesn't make a difference. I guess.
Just like it just sounds like you guys have had like your first like truly bad, like at least
that's
when
what
Ben
no
was
that's
there,
what I'm saying.
Like, it's your first bad year and you're like, blow everything up, the world's terrible. Like
this is exactly what you were like at the beginning of the year with Love. He stinks.
Because I thought, I still don't like Goody. I still think, okay, I changed my mind on Love, but Goody needs to go. Okay, I didn't think he had it because he'd been there for 3 years. Kenny Pickett's been in the league for 2, and he's gotten way more starts than Jordan Love, and he's clearly not the guy. Even you think so.
But they're historic. Like,
I still think Goody needs to go.
This Steelers offense is. I don't think you've watched all these games. It's historically bad.
I've unfortunately seen too much of their fucking.
That's what I'm saying. It's brutal. It's fucking with my head.
I can tell you're like desperate just to get a 6-yard carry at this point.
No, honestly though, that's what sucks. It's like, how is this real? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
I don't get it. But were you taking Chicago -4?
No, not at all. I'm taking Arizona to win the game.
All right, next game, Cowboys at Dolphins.
I think it's just kind of like, when you don't got the leader, like when you know you don't have a dude that like could even maybe on the off chance take you to the promised land. That's when when the season starts going down the tubes, there's no amount of culture that can save it. Like, does that make sense?
I mean, are we still talking about the Steelers?
Talking
Because
about like even having a guy like Kirk Cousins, like dude, Jimmy Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl.
when have you ever seen a wide receiver all over the internet and Twitter that isn't blocking? The Steelers team is all over the internet for the lack of effort. You saw Najee Harris in the interviews talking about Mitch Trubisky saying he's all right, I guess.
All right,
Like
besides Deontay and George Pickens, how many other dudes are not showing effort? Because I haven't seen any. Everybody else plays
Najee?
Najee plays his tail off.
You didn't watch the last game. Go watch them all 22. He
Okay,
runs in the
besides
bag.
this last current game where Najee, I'm going to take your word for it, didn't give a lot of effort. Everybody else been playing their tail off. Jalen Warren was like, they asked him about it. He's like, I would have blocked for George if he was the one with the ball. That's the best thing you can say in that situation. Like, I think those two are the only.
I signed that dude to $1 million.
You're like
millions of dollars.
You're like the culture. Okay, well,
The
Antonio
one
Brown,
undrafted guy you're quoting right now, yeah.
Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Mike Wallace. You guys have a history of having immensely talented wide receivers, but usually with the talent comes a lot of diva. So, like, to some degree, like, are you surprised that it's the wide receivers making noise? You're like, I can tell you the last time I've seen a wide receiver getting criticized on the internet for effort. It probably happens every week from just a different team. It's just not specifically those guys. Like right now, it's been really bad. I don't like the fact that Mike Tomlin has 51 of his 53 players playing hard. Tells me that it's probably
hard.
not.
There's
Mike
evidence
Tomlin.
of Pat Fryermuth not blocking. Najee Harris running into the back of everybody possible. The entire team
Najee just being bad doesn't necessarily mean good effort.
He was good before that.
Effort.
They were a top run team before these. They're the first team over 500 to lose to two win teams in a row. There's your fucking stat. That's all you need to know. This team is off as fuck, and they have TJ Watt on their team. That's all you need to know. This team's fucked up. You can't argue that at all.
Yeah, they've definitely chargered some games away. That's for sure.
Their mental.
They found ways to lose
up.
instead of finding ways to win, is what I'm saying.
They gave everything up. They didn't find anything. They just gave it all up. Gave everything up. They suck. Nobody is in it to win it. That locker room is lost.
Sounds like you'd be excited to trade for Justin Fields in the offseason. Get some hope.
Dude, something's got to change. I don't. You know,
you
I'm
go make
Justin
a deal
Fields
with the
guy.
Bears. You already said Claypool there. They might trade with you guys again.
Like I said, George Pickens' first round pick. They're probably gonna do it. Those donkeys.
I think Kansas City would probably be more apt to do that than Chicago. But
no, but
let's move on from the Steelers. You're clearly about to have an aneurysm.
You brought it back up.
I know, and I regret it now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you all fired up again. I just was trying to calm the panic over here. You're like ready to throw them in the dumpster, put 5 gallons of gas on them, and throw the match. And I'm like, take it easy, man. Like, I'm trying to do the same thing to you, what you did to me. I'm like, fuck the Packers. And you're like, relax.
Not even close to the same situation. Not even close.
Well, you're melting down about your team for reason X. I was doing the same thing earlier, and you tried to bring me back to rationality. That's all I was trying to do.
No, they're a mid-team. I'm not melting down.
What are you doing then if you're not melting down?
I want them to melt down.
So I'm curious what you're doing if you're not melting down.
No, I want them to melt down. That's why I'm
melting down.
No, that's why I'm emphatic about this. I want the Steelers to melt down, to go give me some draft picks to rebuild what the Steelers were. Because right now they're going to stay mid forever.
They got to start taking best talent available as opposed to what they need. That's what the Cowboys do, and look at them, man. They've had arguably more success. I mean, aside from Dak being injured, they've had arguably more success in the last 10 years than Pittsburgh. If you want to go off like strictly off playoff wins and like appearances and stuff like that, and like offensive stats and like those, like you brought up the 2 losses against 2 2-win teams. Like weird shit like dude, Dallas doesn't do stuff like that. They might have
Yeah,
botched that one game to Atlanta a couple of years ago with that goofy onside kick, but like,
I don't
you
know
know,
what the answer is. I'm glad it's not my job, but something's got to change with this team. The same way something's got to change with the Packers defensive coordinator. We got to make some different decisions here to change some shit
well, we
because
know the
we know
DC's got to go. We don't know what's going on with Pittsburgh. I think
we
it's a collective of things. I don't know if it's just Tomlin, like
that,
whatever.
but I mean, it's been the Steelers have had 3 head coaches. That's insane.
Yeah,
It's time to
probably
make some
tells you it's
changes.
pretty damn good place to work.
Fuck, dude, Pittsburgh's a great time. But speaking of the Cowboys,
Yeah, let's get down to Dallas here.
Cowboys at Dolphins, Miami -1.5 now.
Interesting.
I'm not taking this line. Uh, so one of my notes was, can the Cowboys slow down Tyreek Hill? And my answer to my own question was, nobody can slow down Tyreek Hill. It's
That's
not
the correct
possible.
answer.
The real question here is, does the Cowboys pass game show up? Can they get the pass game rolling against it? Miami's defense is pretty nice with it, man.
They've definitely been much improved, especially the last few weeks.
And Miami's run game is nice. Miami's pass game is nice.
They can keep that Dallas offense on the bench all they want, or they can score at will. That offense can do it all.
I
But
think it's going to be a
this is the
close
first
game,
real
hence it
pass
being,
rush they've faced. Miami, that is.
yeah, yeah.
Like this is
Very
a
true.
nasty pass rush.
Miami and Cowboys, both known as teams that can't beat teams with winning records this year. They're both in the same.
And on the road at that for Dallas.
So I think Dallas has a bounce back game here with a little bit of pass going. They're gonna be better than they were against the Bills. There's a reason this line's -1.5. This is gonna be a close game. Tyreek Hill's gonna get his. Mostert's gonna get his. But I also think Dak, CD get theirs as well.
I think this is going to be one hell of a shootout. This is
I
probably going to
can't
be the
wait
game
for
of the
this
week.
fucking.
I think it's
I
going to be
did
first
type
one to
that.
40 wins.
I did type that. I said game of the week, and then I was like, I have to say one of the best games of the week because the Ravens play the 49ers, so it's kind of hard to
I'm
dub
more
this.
interested. I'm more interested in this.
I mean, I am for fantasy purposes because I have a Fergie, Dak, and CD on one team here. Don't like it. That's where I'm at in my life because Mark Andrews got injured.
Yeah.
So
I think I just like number one, the narrative's a lot better. Like I'm like the Ravens and the Niners are elite teams. Move on. Like I'm kind of sick of, like hearing about it. Like especially the Niners. Everybody is just
still don't
drooling
think the
and
Ravens are that
slobbering all
elite,
over the
but
Niners knob. And like I think the Ravens are a really good team too. It's like cool. This game has the biggest question marks about it. Like, can the Dolphins beat anyone good? Can the Cowboys consistently beat anyone good? Can the Cowboys beat anyone good on the road? Like Mike McCarthy, is he going to get out of the way of Dak? Or, like Mike McDaniel, is he ready for this? Like Tyreek, what's he like? There's so much more to this, in my opinion, than the MVP race on Monday Night Football. Like, I don't really
game's gonna
care.
be sick.
Like I think the game's gonna be great, but like I don't care about the MVP race, and they're gonna build this as a potential Super Bowl preview, and like I don't think that's happening. Like I don't think Baltimore's getting there without Mark Andrews. Um, I'm way more interested in this game. I expect it to be high flying. I expect it to be a shootout, and I'm taking Miami to win this game.
So
I
you're
think,
taking the line?
yeah, I'm taking this line. I think Miami's gonna win. I think they win by a possession, definitely more than 2 points, by two or more.
All right, next we got Patriots at Broncos. Denver favored by -7.
Do we have to talk about this game?
No, we
This is
don't.
going to be so bad. I can't believe they didn't flex this out of Sunday Night Football.
Broncos have been decent. Patriots offense is awful. Broncos need this win, and they're going to get this win at home. That's all I
Yeah.
have.
I smashed the Denver line. Russell Wilson just got
They
screamed at like
destroy
a little
Belichick.
kid.
And
Yeah.
Sean Payton and Russell Wilson both destroy Bill Belichick historically. So.
Yeah, Sean Payton especially.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be a signature win here for Russ and Sean Payton. They're going to put their stamp on this season of the Broncos, and I think this game will be a big determination if Russ is going to be the quarterback there or not next year. Because if he shits his pants and like has turnovers and this game gets ugly and it's really close and they lose and like, or if they got to scramble to try and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, I think Sean Payton's done. I think Sean Payton is like on his last legs with Russell Wilson. He's like, this is not the guy he wanted. Like, I think Sean Payton would rather go draft someone. So, but if
Yeah,
Russ can come out here and look good, adhere to the scheme, do the things Sean
he's
Payton
gonna
wants
do
him
it.
to do, then I think Russ will probably be the quarterback there next year.
I
'Cause
think he's going to.
he's been looking good this year, man.
He's a smart fucking dude. He's gonna do that. He's not a dumb quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean,
And,
from what I was like listening to, some people like I was listening to some podcasts and like different people like giving their takes on what they think that was about between Russ and Sean Payton on the sidelines and whatnot. And one person in particular was like, who knows Sean Payton. They were talking about how like one thing about Sean Payton is he can handle a physical mistake. Like tip pass goes intercepted, whatever, or like you make the wrong cut or something like that. But like you make the mental mistake of like you read the wrong coverage and that's why you threw a pick or
that's when
something.
you're
Like
in
the
it.
mental part is what Sean Payton can't handle. And I think Russ, after getting scolded
He's
last
got
week, I
that.
think he'll
Yeah.
be really sharp, extra sharp this week. So I like Denver here to smash.
Next game we have is Raiders at Chiefs, where I'm curious about your opinion.
Yeah, we're gonna give some
I'm
Christmas
taking
Day
that.
picks here just because who knows what our schedule is gonna look like for this. So
I say,
we might
do
as
you
well.
work Monday?
No, I'm off, but I will be busy all day Monday. So
Do you work Tuesday?
no, I mean I do work Tuesday.
Oh, all right. We'll have to discuss when we're going to recap. But yeah, we got to give these Monday picks. I'm taking Kansas City -10. Um, the Chiefs beat the Raiders 31-17 last time. Chiefs aren't going to score 60 plus points, or Raiders aren't going to score 60 plus points again. Chiefs have a lot to play for. I think Travis Kelce has kind of a bounce back game. The Chiefs offense has a little bit of bounce back game with Pacheco coming back. Um, it, the Chiefs are going to dial it up. At least Mahomes is, pending that they don't drop the balls. Mahomes is going to dial it up. He knows what's at stake here. This team still has a chance to clinch a bye week. Like, as much as we think the Chiefs have not been the Chiefs of past, which they haven't, they're still a phenomenal football team with a 9-5 record. So
Yeah, I think this is going to be a taking out of the frustrations game for Kansas City. I feel so bad for Raiders fans like right now already. I think the
at
Chiefs are
Arrowhead,
going to crush their soul on Monday on Christmas. Yes,
yeah,
it's going to be bad. I think
that's
this
where
is
I'm at.
definitely a get right game for Andy Reid and company. They've been faltering, and this is the time of year where you really need to tighten it up. And Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. He's going to have these guys tightened up
And Mahomes is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's going to be
already. Yeah.
dialed in, ready to destroy this team, just like he does the Raiders every time he plays them.
Yep. Let's
Next,
move
we
on to
have
the next game here. Yeah,
Giants.
that's enough for that total domination slate.
Giants at Eagles, Philadelphia -13.5. I am not going to take this line, although I think the Eagles win, just not by a couple of touchdowns. Uh, Anybody can pass on this Eagles secondary, even DeVito. Like,
Yeah.
Saquon's not going to not run his ass off, and I I hate these big lines. It stinks picking them. But I mean, if I was putting money on this, I'm not putting any money on this game. But the Eagles can't stop any quarterback from dicing them up. I think that the Eagles come out to a commanding lead and get a bunch of junk time, and the Giants keep it within 13.5 points. I mean, even a two-score game, they're winning by 17. I think the Giants can keep this game within 17 points.
The
So,
line is 17 now.
well, no, sorry, 13.5. Sorry,
Yeah. I'm like, what are
a
you
touchdown and
talking
a field
about?
goal. Touchdown and a field goal. I don't know why I did 10 and 3 to make 17.
I don't know either.
Minus, my brain's, it's almost 10 o'clock. I'm usually in bed.
Yeah.
A touchdown and two field goals, actually. I think that
I
the
mean,
Giants can keep it closer than a 13.5 line.
yeah, I'm definitely taking this line, and you literally laid out the groundwork as to why. I think the Eagles jump out to a commanding lead, and that will give their defense the opportunity to have a get right game. Go rush the passer. How do you make your coverage better? Get to the quarterback. That's one thing they haven't been doing lately. And like I said, against that Monday night game, I think the defense was sneakily a little bit better than it has been. And I look for that to improve again on a terrible Giants offense. I mean, DeVito, like, he carved up the Packers. I don't think he's going to carve up the Eagles. He might get some garbage time points if the backups and second strings are in for the Eagles, but I like the Eagles to get on top of them, and then that pass rush just put in work and contain DeVito. Because once DeVito can't use his legs, Giants are pretty much sitting ducks. They don't really have great offense because Saquon can only do so much. Wan'Dale
Yeah.
Robinson's a nice little slot receiver. They have nobody else. So I think this is
I don't know.
definitely a big get right game for Philly. And honestly, I kind of smell a vintage AJ Brown game coming here. Devonta
They
Smith did
smell it,
not
aka
practice the
want it.
last. No, I think it's gonna happen. I like can you name the Giants starting corners? Because I can't.
No, but I do know that the Eagles have let up 31 points against the Commanders twice this season.
Yeah, that team for whatever reason had Philly's number this year.
Every
We'll see if the Giants do as well. But I mean, Dallas, they split it with them, and they were competitive games. Except for the second one, it was competitive for the first half and then not. But I definitely like the Eagles to get right here. Like
Yeah,
that
they play the
defensively,
Giants. I think they play the Giants
2 times in three
twice, and
weeks.
then yeah,
They
that's
played Giants, Cardinals, Giants. So I really like the Eagles to get right here over these next 3 weeks.
they should. Their defense needs to figure it the fuck out. That's for sure. Like you're saying, like hope. I mean, I want to see the Eagles be competitive. I hate these big lines, but I don't got to toss up an egg here as far as picking these big lines. You kind of just have to pick yes and no sometimes of these big ones
Pretty
because
much
like you
flipping a
never know
coin.
it. Yeah, that's such a massive line, especially when you juncture in junk time. The Eagles don't care if they lose by 13 and a half points or 13 points.
Yeah.
That's still a big victory. Next game we have Christmas night, massive football game, Ravens at 49ers. Huge fantasy implications for a lot of people. A lot of people.
Is this line
Lamar,
still San Fran -5.5, or did it move to 6?
um, -6 San Fran.
Ah,
I mean,
I
it's
was gonna
almost the
take this
same.
at 5.5. I don't know if I'm
That's
taking this now at
that's almost, I
6.
mean, what's the difference? The
A half
extra
a
points
point.
almost, the extra points almost guaranteed.
It's 2 field goals. What if you miss an extra point? Jake Moody's already missed some kicks this year. I mean, this game is gonna get funky, man. Funky things happen when the Ravens play football. You know this.
AFC North football is
You know
always
this.
fucking funky.
I don't know who, and I really hope it doesn't happen, but something gives like between these two teams, something gives me the vibe that a player is not going to make it out of this game unscathed. And I really hope I'm wrong, but
These
it just
deep,
really worries me the way these
I
two
didn't
teams
think about
play.
that
And
until you said that, but yeah, these defenses are gonna crack some people. This feels
oh
like an
yeah.
AFC North football game
I
with an
mean,
NFC team.
think about how many injury prone people there are in this game alone. I mean, just on San Francisco's offense, you have Debo, CMC, and Kittle.
Don't ever say Christian McCaffrey
I
and
mean,
injury in the same
you look
sentence.
at the Ravens. It's like they got Lamar, Mark Andrews is already gone, and what's his name, Odell, and then Bateman can
Mitchell,
never stay healthy. Mitchell's like, yeah,
his
dude,
knee went backwards.
this game just like scares me, dude. This is like the most injured teams typically bowl. Like
Yeah,
I
so
get weird vibes from this game, man.
I'm not taking this line, but I think San Fran wins this game. I think they have more offensive weapons than the Ravens do. Both defenses are ranked 1 and 2 in points allowed. Uh, it's just, I'm going with the offensive weapons here. The 49ers have so many offensive weapons. They have a MVP quarterback. Both, I mean, as of this season, Brock Purdy is a although we talked about it earlier, not wanting to give this to a quarterback.
He's not my MVP. Hell
Yeah,
no.
but that's how it goes. He's probably one of the best. As far as
He
quarterback,
looked awfully average once he didn't have all of his studs around him.
he also has the lowest, what is it, the best passer rating, but like the lowest
Passing attempts in the league.
or some yeah, something like that. But regardless, they have a lot of weapons. And if Mark Andrews was playing and the Ravens had a bona fide RB1, this would be a whole different game, but they don't have that.
Yeah.
And Seattle or San Fran does.
If Mark
At
Andrews was
home
playing, I'd
in
be
San
picking
Francisco,
Baltimore.
across the country, traveling to San Fran. I mean, I'm not taking this line because I think it's going to be close, but I think San Fran can win by a field goal here.
Oh
And
wow, that's crazy. I like San Fran to win here by 6 or 7 points, and That's why I was asking if this line moved at all, because at 5.5, I would have taken this line. And I don't want San Fran to win. I'm totally rooting for the Ravens. I hate San Francisco. I hope this is a good game and nobody comes out injured. That's for sure. I'm itching to see a Super Bowl preview here. But that
I
Ravens
literally had
defense,
that. My
they got
last
some.
sentence was Super Bowl preview with 3 question marks.
Yeah,
So
that Ravens defense has shown some cracks in the armor as of late. The Niners are so complete. Like at 5.5, I was definitely going to take this. At 6, I really don't know, man, because I could see this game being 30-24, no
yeah,
problem. And I just think the Ravens are talented enough to keep it close. I don't think they're going to get blown out. But at 5.5, man, I would have taken that. That
so
sucks.
you're not taking it.
I think I'm gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna bank on the fact that their
You're
kicker's not
taking
gonna
it.
miss an extra point. Yeah, I'm gonna take that line. I swear to
Yeah,
God, if this hits 6 and it pushes because they missed a PAT, I'm gonna scream.
hey man, I've lost a few games where I picked the team to win, so I know. Uh, I don't think the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens are 11-3 for a reason, but they do have some cracks in their armor, like you said, man. If this Ravens team was fully healthy,
Yeah.
they're
Mark
going to the
Andrews is the
Super
biggest.
Bowl. That
Mark
is a
Andrews is the biggest
dagger.
loss for them. That was just dude, that's like the Chiefs losing Kelsey right now. They'd be dead in the water. Like it's
It's
the
even
same
worse, to be
situation.
fair, but
It's kind of
yeah.
the same situation. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
they got one guy who's reliable, Zay Flowers slash Rashi Rice.
not even.
They got one tight end, Travis Kelsey, Mark Andrews. Then everybody else is a bunch of question marks. Like Odell, can he even stay healthy? Bateman
They're,
can't catch, neither can Tony. Like,
I mean, all the running, literally the only two reliable people on both of those teams is Mark Andrews and Kelsey.
yeah.
Even Zay Flowers
And Rashi
doesn't put up
Rice are still
numbers, or Rasheed
rookies.
Rice is
Yeah. They're still rookies. They're not experienced. They're
yeah,
not
man.
all reliables yet, but they look nice.
I'm amped for that game. I'm amped for the Cowboys game. I hope the Bills. I, I hope the Bills ball out, and I hope the Bills meet the Ravens in the playoffs and kick the shit out of them.
I don't just hope the Bills ball out. I hope Steph Diggs balls out. That's the one that, like, if I were to say, oh,
Yeah,
I'm sniffing a big game, it would be because I want it to happen. No, I think AJ Brown's going to have a good game. Back to that with the Eagles matchup here, just because Devonta Smith has not practiced the last 2 days,
yeah,
and
he's been hurt. Yeah,
I can't tell if that's just maintenance related or if he's actually hurt. So we'll see if he plays, especially if there's like if Devonta Smith's out there, I get the feeling he might be kind of light duty slash decoy. But if he's not out there at all, AJ Brown should feast. Because I mean, Dallas Goedert's good enough to draw other coverage away and cause problems. Like they can throw screens to what's his nuts?
Swift.
DeAndre Swift. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, Julio is still there. Like Julio's actually had some
he can be
clutch
a threat.
catches for them. Yeah, like he's made some critical first down catches and stuff. So
Yeah, AJ Brown. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard for him to have a game against the Giants.
shouldn't be like the
So
dude hasn't had 100-yard game since he stopped his streak of 100-something yard
he's also a
games.
freak. He can beat anybody. He can beat your best cornerback all day long as you give him the opportunity to do so and throw the ball up. He will have a good game.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's gonna wrap up the show for us today. Extra long episode. Hope everybody enjoyed. It's gonna be a wonderful weekend of Christmas and football. And hope everyone has just a safe and like weekend out there. No drinking and driving. If the weather's real bad, be mindful. Don't be ripping through the snow over the speed limit. Get there when you get there safe. Don't get there 10 minutes early. It's not worth it. So,
That was
Mike,
beautiful.
you got anything else you want to add to this week other than you hope the Steelers lose?
I hope they win. I hope they lose. I'm a bag of shit.
It's okay if
I'm just
anybody knows where you're at right now. It's me. I was there earlier this season.
you.
I got
Hey,
to see those. I got to see
don't.
those 3 good games from Jordan Love, and I'm like, all right, at least we got this guy. Like, at least he's not a bust. I was very
Unfortunately, you
happy he
don't know
wasn't
where
a
I'm at
bust.
because I've had a lot more games of this guy starting, and I haven't had those 3 games. But man,
Well, apparently you
anything else to
have,
add?
but yeah, we'll talk about that later. That's it.
Uh,
We'll save the more content for the next episode.